Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nif Hakim Bazikifli and I am going to explain what I've done for this assignment. For the problem A1, we use MATLAB as a calculator where we put the correct symbol of math that can be read by MATLAB. As we can see here, it can solve all this problem by run this coding into the MATLAB. For 1A, B, and C, we use simple calculation where it consists of multiplication and division. For 1D, we use trigonometry code where we put D in every code for the MATLAB to interpret into degree. For 2B, we use exponential, and 2C, we use ln with absolute value. And lastly, 2D, we use SQRT as a code for square root. Problem A2, we create and modify an array of a matrix. Number 1, we create a row vector with a 0 value and modify it to transfer the value of 7 at the end of the vector. Number 2, we create row vector with a constant spacing of -1 and we later combine it to form the row vector. Problem A3, we use MATLAB for matrix operation and manipulation. Number 1, we create a row vector of an x and we assign y for the formula where we must put dot in particular element by element operations. It then will give you the answers, and the operation for the number 2 is the same as number 1. Problem A4 is script file coding. Number 1, we use input to allow user to enter the value of a side of a cube. Then we insert the formula to find radius, and lastly we use fprintf to display the value we calculated. Number 2, we also use input. By this time the user need to include bracket. Then we insert the formula to calculate length of side and perimeter and also the area of the polygon. Lastly, we use fprintf to display all the output we have calculated. Problem A5 is a simple 2D plot. Number 1, we input x value and assign y for the formula. We use plot to create the graph, and we also did the solid green line with a diamond mark. For number 2, we put a value x1 and x2 and also assign y1 and y2 for the formula. We use hold on and hold off function because we have two lines to be created. Then we use x label and y label for each axis, and lastly we put the title of the graph.